Welcome back to the channel. We're here for shop update number 2. Sorry about the voice, I'm getting off of a cold a little bit, but we'll power through it and see if you guys can follow along. Today we're gonna break down some of the details on Dave's 66 Corvette. It's a C2 Corvette that we're doing here. It's a complete build. We've done a lot of work to it already, but primarily just getting pieces together. There's a ton more details to come. So this was originally a small block 327 car, and we decided to go with a big block hood. We've got some really cool custom details we're going to do on this that you can see on the rendering that Tavis Highlander did for us. Dave himself has got a lot of really cool ideas, so he's driving a lot of the design and bouncing back and forth with me and the guys in the shop, which is really cool. He's got a lot of trick ideas, and it's really helpful to get his input a lot and see kind of what he likes, so it helps guide us a little bit along the way. We went with an Art Morrison chassis. It's a full independent front and rear suspension from them, their C2 chassis. This is the second one we've used from them. A lot of the influence for this build is Dave looking at other Corvettes, and one of those is Kindig's CF1. So they use this Lingenfelter stack injected engine, and that's what we got for this car as well. It's got the billet specialties front pulley system, these really awesome ultimate headers. Same thing as you saw in our Chevelle video. These ones are polished. If you haven't checked out our Chevelle video yet, that's the shop update number 1. So a couple of videos behind this one. Like you'll see in that video as well, these ultimate headers were made for this chassis. So we're actually gonna do side pipes and tail pipes. I'm using a Y and a shut-off valve, so side pipes will be straight piped and then regular exhaust out the back. And Dave's got some really cool ideas for doing the side pipes, so a lot of machine stuff that we'll make. You'll see a lot of machine parts on this car, a lot of custom stuff, a lot of billet, chrome, polish. That's kind of his style. Another cool thing we just did, Brian installed these hinges. These are Eddie's Rod and Custom, I believe is who makes those. And they convert this hood. Originally, the hinge is mounted here, and the hood, the front of the hood, would actually drop below the nose of the car when it opened. And we've run into this too on the C1s, kind of do the same thing. And when the hood drops down in that area, that's often the area where we'll have maybe an intake tube or the AC condenser mounts there, so it's always a tight spot. Doing it with these hinges, the way the hood opens over the nose now, it kind of opened up a lot more room for the radiator, cooling, and all that kind of, all these different components. Plus, I think it's a really cool look. Having it elevated over that, it shows off these cool billet hinges. They're mounted on a shock, so the hood, I mean, we actually played around and found the shocks that we liked, but the fact that you can open the hood and it supports itself part way, it just makes it a really kind of pleasant experience. I really believe strongly that how that stuff functions makes it look even better. So, you know, when we go to open the hood and it just really elegantly opens on its own with the shocks and stays up and is comfortable there, it just makes everything else look and present so much better too. But this engine is really trick. This boreless stack injection is just such a cool look. Looks like all these trumpets sticking up, and you can see all the brass throttle valves looking down through there. We'll probably end up putting screens on it, but maybe not at a show. It's just such a cool look as it is. We also went to the original valve covers. So these are actually the valve covers that came on this car with the 327. Billet Specialties makes these adapters. So this is the actual functioning valve cover. It's set up to mount all the coils, and then you basically use the original small block valve cover as a coil cover. This is the first time we've used these, and I think for this application it's a really awesome look because it retains that finned original Corvette style valve cover, but it has all the modern functionality of it, and it kind of, you know, moves this engine into a little bit more of a period correct look, basically. Obviously it's an LS, but it's got these provisions for the wires to poke out, so you don't even have to modify this cover. We're actually going to send these out and get them chrome plated. And we're just kind of working through a lot of the details of the engine bay right now. Everything pretty much ends up tying into the next thing. You know, we have to have the valve cover on to figure out what brake booster we're going to run to make sure we have enough clearance. We have to have the headers in so that we can figure out the steering shaft and what column and what length we need. The headers have to be in so we can figure out the exhaust routing for the side pipes so that we can mount the battery. And it's just on and on and on and on. The engine has to be in before we can figure out the depth of the radiator. Same as that Chevelle you'll see in that video. And we're doing a PWR brushless fan system. It's proven to be really good and reliable for us. So we're sticking that course on this one. Dave's got a lot of things that he wants to do in the engine bay. cleaning it up, kind of similar to what I did on the 59 Corvette, the C1. It's on our website and on Instagram and everything. That was a really detailed build, and honestly, I think kind of partially what sold us this job is how well that car turned out. So we're kind of trying to shoot for that same level of detail and quality. To come, we're gonna have some really cool side vent stuff that's on the rendering as well. It's just sitting on the gunnies right now, but this car is also gonna feature one of our new products, which I'm excited to share probably later in the summer, but we'll see. We're still hardcore in development. It's definitely the most intricate thing that we've ever come up with as a product, but I'm pretty excited to share that with you guys soon. Interior wise, not a lot's happened quite yet. You can see we had to cut the entire rear floor out for the independent rear suspension. Monster tires in the back, so we'll have to fabricate all of the fiberglass panels for that. What we like to do is shape them out of aluminum first, and then we kind of use that as our plug, lay all the glass over the top of that, pop it off of there, and then bond it into the car. So that'll be likely the same method of construction we do on this. There will be a little bit of tunnel work just because the car is sitting low, and there again, we're pushing it a little lower than even what Morrison says we can do, with shorter coilovers and some different tricks that we can do. Stance is super important. Wheel fit is super important. You'll see a lot of consistencies as I talk about all these cars. Just we kind of have a formula and steps that we take to achieve what we want to achieve. So having that wheel fit is super important. And that's there again where we use those verified fabrication wheel fit tools, the wheel simulators, which work really great. And then kind of as we move back, we don't have the front bumper on right now, but these rear bumpers, you can see we've tucked them in close to the body. Brian spent a lot of time and did a really great job sectioning them. Just little things like extending the end of this tip here where it wraps around so that it's an even gap all the way to the body. We sent them out. These are original bumpers that we had all the chrome plating stripped off of, and that just leaves the copper, which that makes it a lot easier for us to remove the copper and when we go into weld and everything. So all the brackets were cut off. You know, there's 4 brackets, I believe, that go onto the bumper all the way down. Those were all cut off, moved in closer to the body. This edge was shaved a little bit so that it contours with the body. We also added, Dave found this, I never even knew this was a thing, but some of the dealers offered a third tail light option. And he wanted that done on this, which is unique. You can actually, if you look deep in the internet, there is some other cars out there that were like that. It was an option of the time, I guess. Some of the dealers offered it. We got a stainless tank coming from Zach at Precision. Here we are again, right back to the Chevelle video, talking about the same exact features and directions we go. That's gonna work out really well for us. We just got these shot wheels. These things are really wild. I think this is a rear. Super cool knockoff type covers. You might have to fast forward through this part because these things take forever to unthread. But
12 seconds later.
But I know Derek can appreciate this stuff too. Like, you know, you take this off, it's all threaded. Look at how many different angles are on this piece. It's beautiful. And then these covers, you can hardly even tell there's a seam there, but that pops off and gives you access to the lug nuts. So it's a really cool knockoff look, but you have a standard hub. It works with all the Morrison stuff. These are keyed too, so they fit one way. These guys thread back on. What you see is polished, will stay polished, and we'll end up painting in the brushed areas that are on the wheel right now. I like how defined these lips are. These are really tall, a lot taller actually than I even expected, but I think it'll look good. So some more kind of details about the interior. This is just conversations that Dave and I are having right now, but we're talking about doing a really cool console, maybe carries into the back, lots of billet stuff. Original, like, I don't know, we're trying to just keep a lot of the original styling on the inside, like the steering wheel. We're leaning towards being more of an original base steering wheel. We're probably going to custom make all the gauges and the column mount. Dave's got some cool ideas for that too. He's really meticulous and he's smart with this stuff. He comes to us with these ideas, and then, we get to put in our real input of how we can make them and some of our ideas. We've done a lot of stuff with him. He's building a really crazy Peterbilt truck of all things, which is pretty unusual for us to work on, but the stuff we've made for him is laid the groundwork for this car almost in a sense on how we work together. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to build the car that he wants, and it's gonna be a really, really great car. These are Tavis's renderings, and I just had them printed off kind of for inspiration in the shop. And honestly, I think it's something I'm going to adapt. I've seen other shops do it too in the background of their videos and pictures, and it just looks really good. But it kind of just reminds us of what we're shooting for. You know, stuff always changes too, of course, but a lot of really cool stuff with the side vents and those 3 bars, and that ties into the big block hood, where that area that we're going to recess down with those 3 bars. This also highlights the 3 taillights. We've got the red line tires from Diamondback. Those are really cool. The side pipe, I think it's going to change from that. The white with the red is definitely the theme of the car. We'll be incorporating a lot of red throughout the car and on the engine and different things. But pretty elegant, I would say, like lots of chrome. I think when it's executed well, it's going to look really good. I think it'll be a super tasteful car. Anybody that knows a Corvette, knows a C2 is going to be able to look at it and be like, okay, well, there's a big difference there. But I think a lot of people will not maybe notice a lot of the stuff right away. And we'll get to kind of show off a lot of the machine work and Derek's machining and some design and everything, which should also be great. Like they all do. They just develop into more and more and more and more. It's like, well, now, shoot, we've got this amazing engine in here. It's like, well, we got to dress it up. We got to change this. These big hood latches are kind of clunky. We should probably change those now, which is all stuff that I've done before on the other Corvettes that we've done. So a little bit familiar with the steps to take to get that stuff done. I mean, you can see how ugly these firewalls are. They're just kind of primitive. They just function, you know, it's just, we're trying to turn it into a show car. These were very nice cars originally, but clean all this stuff up a bit. Often we'll make a cover for this. On the other cars, I converted them to a single latch in the middle with 2 poppers. Probably end up adapting that same system on this. I've also been looking at the eye boosters. So Bosch makes their electronic brake booster. I have not used one yet, but I've seen other builders use them. Maybe if you've used one, drop us a comment. Let me know what your experience was with them and how well they work. I like how compact they are. We're kind of considering going just manual brakes because I've been pleasantly surprised a car set up correctly with the correct bore diameter, the correct pedal stroke and ratio. Manual brakes really feel pretty good. But I know Dave would be happier with power brakes, so we're trying to go that direction. I'm trying to get some dimensions right now for that unit. Also, if you have dimensions for the unit, that'd be super helpful to see if I can get it to fit right here. Like I said, everything ties together. So now that I've got this valve cover on here, I know the clearances I have to the firewall and the diameter and everything. So I'm hoping that I can put a power booster here, even if I have to cover it, because I know they're not super sightly. And then we can use the Master Power Brakes billet master cylinder that's got fins on the top that'll kind of tie into everything else. So best case scenario, that's what we do. Trying to avoid doing a hydro boost or vacuum boost or anything. All stuff that works well, but it's kind of hard to make it look good. Gone great lengths on some of these other cars to hide all of that basically, but might be a little bit more difficult to do on this car. Not sure yet entirely what we're going to do for inner fenders and everything. Kind of just need to get some more stuff placed in here. We've got to do a transmission cooler, which I think we'll mount in this area so that it can ventilate through the side there. But we got to also mount the ECU still and a lot more wiring components. All the hoses, we'll tuck all those away as best we can. These are kind of cool. I don't know if you can see inside here or not, but I don't know if I can even make it actuate, but all these throttle valves are all still linkage based. So they've got all this linkage in here that runs off a cable. They're pretty trick set up. And that is one of the hard things about getting these to run right. I'm not saying this because I'm a tuner, but I've seen the struggles with these. So you have to get all of these balanced perfectly. And when they crack open, that's another trick about stack injection is as soon as they crack open, it's not like just one big valve cracking open, it's 8. So the amount of air that you get on that initial hit is a lot more. There's some things you can do to make it progressive, and we often end up kind of lessening the throttle ratio basically so that you can kind of ease into the throttle. And this has got idle air control and stuff like that too, which is helpful. But I know that that is one of the tricky things to get set up on these. But they look so cool. So Borla's got it pretty well figured out. They're the ones that seems like everybody goes to. So this is an LS3 base. I believe they already dynoed it. I think 575 at the crank. It's got a Bowler 4L70 transmission. Should have no problem handling that. Believe it or not. I know everybody's like, you got to put a 4L80, but it's a light car and it's built for it, so it'll be good for the application. if Bowler said it'll be good, then it will be good. That's something else that I've gotten really strict on, is where we get parts from, because it's just nothing worse than having those issues down the road. And Bowler takes care of all their stuff, so it's been good to use them. Another cool thing that, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Art Morrison is now making their own power steering, or their own rack and pinions, their own power rack and pinions. I think they were having issues getting these supplied, so I was like, shoot, that's pretty cool. They took that into their own hands. Seems like they're doing a lot more stuff in-house. They bend all their own sway bars and everything too, which is really cool. Now you're just getting random information. Yeah, better here than Sierra having to listen to me. Yeah, she's a good listener. Everybody's going to be involved in this. So from the start, we have Brian fabricating stuff. Matt and Brian set it on the frame. I've been involved in it too. Derek's, I don't think he's really machined anything quite yet, but he's got a lot of work to do. Matt will wire it. Brian will plumb it. We'll build the exhaust together. Me and Connor will probably do the body work and paint work together. So everybody gets to be involved in this one, and I think it's something that we're all going to be proud of. So I look forward to sharing more with you guys as we make progress on it. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. Thank you, Tyler, for that one. No, this is great. And Tyler's been doing a great job taking a lot of this on. And it's great to do this, after hours and just knock this out. And then he turns it into something that hopefully you guys want to watch. I don't want people to think I'm losing focus, basically, on the cars. Drop it.
I guarantee you it's apparent that that's not
I know.
the case.
That's just up here for some reason. But I'm gonna talk about this in the email too. You can also subscribe to our email newsletter if you want. It's not total spam right now. Just kidding. Fair warning. I sit down and I type it, a lot of pictures. Everybody that I hear back from really enjoys it. So. I don't know. Kind of feel like I'm out of stuff to talk about, to be honest. Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, feel free to make fun of my voice as much as you can. Drop comments. Call me whatever names you want. It'll be fine. I'll get over it. I need to toughen up a little bit, anyways.